on BBC Coventry and Warwickshire. Now, I don't know if you've ever thought, oh, why do I have to work for a living? I want to do something much more fun. Wouldn't that be nice, eh? Well, our next guest has turned his small hobby into an award-winning business. It is possible. Michael Price was growing chilies in his back garden until he had too many for his own use, so he decided to take a leap and start his own company. Since then, he's been selling homegrown and handmade chutneys, jams and sauces at food festivals through his business, Price's Spices. He's in the studio, as are his spices. Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much for having me on the
well.
show.
You're beaming, you're glowing, you look very well.
I'm much happier for doing this now, let's put it that way. It's really, really rewarding to do it, and so many people praise it, so it's nice to get some reward out of what you do for a living.
Let's rewind back then. So who were you before this?
Before all of this, I was basically doing the usual, working 40 hours a week, kind of just going to work, doing a job, getting paid, not really enjoying it. It was okay, and started doing this as a bit of a hobby. I always enjoyed growing, and one thing led to the next, and the next thing I'm kind of selling spices.
So what did you do?
I was a developer stroke data analyst for Aston Martin for the last approximate 8 years.
That's a good company to work for.
Yeah. It's,
data analyst.
It's nice. It was quite local, so there wasn't too much traffic, which, it did get a little bit busier, but it wasn't too bad. Nice drive through the countryside to get to work. People are like, oh, Aston Martin. But at the end of the day, it's still a job that you're going to work for somebody else for. It's not quite as rewarding as working for yourself, which is what this now is.
You said you've always enjoyed growing, so what had you previously grown?
I was brought up growing a few things in the veg patch when the parents could kind of spare the time to do so. Kind of grew the usual beans, tomatoes, that kind of thing. But when I got my own house, it was kind of like, right, really want a greenhouse. Got some hanging baskets outside under the carport with some tomatoes in there, and then started getting into growing a few chilli plants. Before you know it, a couple of years in, you've gone from 5 chilli plants to about 100 chilli plants.
In one
you get
greenhouse?
The chilli bug.
Chilli bug.
Some inside, some outside. The hotter ones inside the greenhouse, yeah.
What's impressive about chilies and growing them is the yield you get off them. You don't need many plants to get a lot of chilli.
You don't. The more you fuss with the plant, the less chilies you're going to get. Leave it to its own devices, just give it a little shake once a week and you get loads and loads of fruit. They're all self-pollinating, so it's really, really easy to grow, and people think it's hard. It's not.
Come on, it's a really hard thing that you're doing here. You're growing chilies.
The making of the products is more difficult. Trying to get that tailored so it basically suits a lot of people's taste buds. You've got people that are saying, oh, it's not hot enough. People saying it's too hot. It's trying to find the right balance for the right product for what people want to use it for, to make sure that it suits the mass market. Obviously, it's something that you want to be spicy, but not too spicy. You want to introduce people to certain items and get them into the range.
So how do you go from growing lots of chilies to then knowing how to put them in a recipe and put them in a nice jar and sell it and make money from it?
Well, I've been cooking since I was 14. I kind of had to learn how to cook pretty quick as a teenager. One thing happened and this, that and the other, so I was kind of, my mum was working late. If you didn't cook, you didn't eat. So I've always enjoyed cooking, even despite that. Because of it, I've always loved world food. Brother-in-law actually got me into that from when he used to come back home with my sister, trying to get me to eat hotter Mexican tacos all the time. So
back home from Mexico?
No, sorry, from the university.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be a case of, right, how much chili salsa can you put on there? And, looking back at it now, it's actually really mild for what I would eat. But, yeah, we'd both be there sweating away. And it's kind of crazy how, you go from that and then you move into the, your Naga chilies and this, that and the other, which people these days realise are quite warm.
The chili challenge, I like it. You've mentioned a Naga. I don't know what that is. We'll learn, no doubt, in a few minutes' time. At what point did you realise, hang on, I'm onto something here? At what point did you think you could do something with it?
Well, I mean, going back into how I started the business in 2013 through growing far too many chilies, it was only a friend of mine on the internet that said, London's first chili festival's coming up, it's only 20 quid. So, okay, petrol there and back, parking, 20 quid, what have I got to lose? So I'll take some of the sauces that I'd previously been making and a couple of chili jams, and I think I was taking as much on that day as the bigger boys in the industry, which
really
kind of prompted me. And as soon as I come back the next day at Aston Martin, I was like, right, Burton Chili Festival's coming up, I've got to get this book. So I was the first person to book going to Burton Chili Festival, so I'd got the book straight after doing one chili festival. And
there are plenty of these chili festivals out there?
They are really getting quite popular. In the last 4 years they've probably grown tenfold. There used to be probably about 10 chili festivals a year. Throughout the summer there's lots and lots. First one kicks off in April, which we'll be doing up in Blackpool, and then they go all the way through up until Christmas. So,
you all making the same stuff?
No, definitely not. Some people from the outside would think, oh, you know, somebody's got a lime pickle, somebody else has got a lime pickle.
Oh, don't lime pickle. I'm a sucker for that. I love it.
Oh, no, we do lemon pickle.
Lemon?
South Indian. Yeah, it's a new product, just launched. But it's a little bit more citrusy. But the thing is, products can look different, but because it's all artisan, it's like going round to Auntie Mary's or Uncle Bob's house. Everybody's going to cook something slightly different. It won't taste processed, and it will taste absolutely phenomenal because of the care and attention. It's been done in such small batches. So the likes of myself and the other companies that do it, everything is different. So people go back to these festivals constantly.
So this is all done from your spare room, your kitchen, where?
The box room has a couple of thousand glass jars and bottles, as does the dining room. The dining room is kind of the distribution centre as well, and has all the made products in there. So we've got a couple of thousand items in there at the minute. And our 2 metre by 3 metre kitchen is kind of like the production area. So we are going to need a unit at some point, but we are scaling slowly. So my wife's a very patient person, bless her.
Isn't she?
Oh, yes.
You lucky man. You lucky man. So you no longer do that 40 hours a week job now, because it sounds like you haven't got the time.
Well, I don't actually know how I used to do too. I used to do 17 hours a day, so I'd used to finish at Aston Martin, pick my son up from the childminder, spend a little bit of time with him, and then get cooking these batches of chutney sauces, and then get ready for working at the weekend. I really don't know how I managed to fit it all in.
The
I
house
really
will
don't.
Smell of spice constantly.
It smells brilliant, yeah.
You just want to
toasted
eat your house.
spices and lemons and pineapples. Yeah, it smells really good.
Oh, don't stop it. He has brought some in, which we'll have a little sample of maybe a bit later on. When you made the decision, you go to your boss and you say, mate, it's not for me anymore. I'm heading off. I'm going to make some chutneys. How did that go down?
It come about quite all right, to be honest with you. It was a good time for Aston Martin, it was a good time for me, and you know, it was kind of, do I just take the whole big leap or do I go part-time? And to be fair, I've made the right decision. I'm really happy with what I've done. It's allowing me to do a little bit more product development at the weekends when I'm not doing chili festivals, so there'll be new things coming about, and I can get all the items made and everything else done properly rather than trying to rush things.
So were you made redundant, or did you just hand your notice in?
I basically said, look, you know, let's draw a line under this. I'm going to go and work for myself now. So, yeah, really good.
What's your advice to anyone who's got itchy feet at work and have got an idea that they think they can turn into a business?
Well, you don't know how long you're going to be about. If you've got a dream, follow it. I mean, you may have heard the news about Viola Beach this week. One of my friends, Thomas Lowe, was actually one of the members in that band. So, you know,
goodness,
a young
I'm so
age of
sorry.
30, go and follow your dreams. He followed his dream. Unfortunately, it ended sooner than what it needed to. But, you know, I've lost people in my life that were really young. I'm young now. I want to spend a really good amount of time doing this, and I want to make something of myself and enjoy what I'm doing at the same time. So if you've got a dream, follow it.
Goodness me, I'm so sorry to hear about your friend. Was he a close friend?
Yeah.
And what does the impact of seeing that, I mean, because they have just dominated the news, haven't they? What's the impact on you? Does it drive you further?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you spend the first few hours of, hearing the news, you're a little bit angry and upset by it, but yeah, it spurs you on. It gives you a little bit of encouragement to go and do what you want to do and make sure that you do a damn good job of it, really. All right,
well, it looks like you have done a damn good job of it. You want to see the packaging, it looks phenomenal. I want to buy it because of that alone. It looks fantastic. You clearly are a big inspiration to many, I'm sure, and he's won awards for his chili chutneys. We'll come back to him in a sec. The spices are going up my nose. He's opened all the jars. My nose is tickling away. Oh goodness, Randy Crawford. And you might need somebody on BBC Coventry and Warwickshire. Now in the studio, Michael Price from Price's Spices. He's given up his job at Aston Martin in order to follow his dreams of making chutneys and sauces after his love of growing spices at the back of the house, in the garden, in the greenhouse. And my goodness, we've roped in Richard Williams, who's in for Phil Upton this afternoon on Drive. Hello, Richard.
Good morning.
You like your spices?
I do. I'm a bit of a spice connoisseur, I'd say. The Scoville scale, I like to...
You know what you're doing?
I do, yeah. I've even grown chilies before.
Oh, he's even grown a chilli.
I've grown a chili, yeah. So I feel like I'm on good ground here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, as long as you got started in it.
All right then. So, Michael, you've opened up these lids and the aromas are just incredible. I cannot imagine what your kitchen must smell like and what it's like to come visit your house and just be tempted by them all. So what are you giving Richard now then? What is it we're going to start with?
Okay, we've got a couple of chili sauces open to start with. So just to demonstrate, we start off with a mild one, which is called El Salvatador. So it's one of our mildest products. It's a pineapple and ají-limon chili. So the ají-limon is quite a mild chili. It's very fruity.
That's mild.
It's quite fragrant.
Yes, that's courtesy of the Adji Lemon chili, which
That's a
is
nice one.
it's only a little bit hotter than a jalapeno, but it's quite citrusy. It's almost got like a bit of a lemony flavour to it.
Sorry, go on.
You could use that as a dip.
Yes.
Oh.
You can also stir it into some hummus just to make your hummus a little bit more interesting as well, or mix it with a little bit of oil, white wine vinegar, and you've got yourself a nice salad drizzle as well because it's mild. It basically gives your salad leaves a little bit of a kick without going overboard.
That's clever. You see, I never know what to do other than dunk a crisp in it. I never know what to do with stuff and chutneys and chilies.
Barbecuing, you can use it as a glaze.
So do you give people
can.
recipes to do that with?
Yeah, on the side of each of the products, on the jars, we have a QR code. So if you've got a smartphone or a tablet or you just want to go straight on the web, you can put that in and it will take you to a recipe section dedicated solely for that one product.
You don't mind sharing it?
Definitely not. No, the more people that try these things, or even go and try it with other people's products, because you then realise how good it is to try it with our own.
What's the deal with chilies in terms of the long ones, the thin ones, the fat ones, the green ones, the red ones? Is there like a thin green is the hottest? What's hot, what's not?
No, it used to be that people thought the smaller it was, the hotter it is, but that's not been proven the case.
Is it the fatter it is, the hotter it is?
If it looks really ugly and it's quite knobbly on the outside and it's got lumps and bumps, that's generally an indication of leave me alone, I'm really going to hurt you.
Bring it on.
That's what the hot ones
Sounds
are.
like the one I'd want. Scotch bonnet, is it?
Oh, people think Scotch bonnet's hot, but we go far hotter than that.
Oh,
That's
okay.
about halfway up the scale. You've got the Dorset Naga, which was the UK's world's hottest chili a few years ago, Trinidad Marugan Scorpion, and then we go on to the Carolina Reaper, which is the current world record holder of nearly 2 million Scovilles.
Have you got one of them in the sauce?
No.
What have you
I
got
don't
nearest
go over
to
any.
that?
The Dorset Naga is the hottest I use, because as soon as you start going over about 1 million Scovilles, I think personally that the chilies start tasting a little bit metallic. When you've eaten plenty of Scotch bonnets or hot sauce, you will get to a point where you don't think the chilies taste brilliant. So there's a level that I stop at. Now, there's one that you've got there is now called Haitian Sensation.
Give
And
me
I
a big
use
lump of it.
Oh yeah.
we
So
go,
I
lot
use a
of
Scotch
scoop.
bonnet in there.
Clear his head for later.
This could all do getting really badly at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, you will get an instant heat
There's
from
nothing
that.
on that. Give him a bit more.
I'll do it on a spoon then, look. There we go.
Bigger spoon.
Like Alan Partridge.
Oh, he's having a spoonful.
So yeah, you will find a bit of instant heat from that, straight at the front of the tongue.
No,
He's gone
that's
big
good.
white.
That's good.
How good is it?
So that's about as hot as we go, to be fair.
Nice.
So for the chili sauces, we kind of have a mild, medium, and a hot. Again, they're all good on the Mexican tacos, and it's just trying to find things for
Literally waving his hand.
Oh, it's got a bit of an
It's the
afterkick.
afterkick.
for
It's
what
the
works for
afterkick.
you, because everybody's taste buds are different, and everybody eats different levels of hot
You were
food.
being cocky there. Look at you now.
What is it? Drinking milk that you can stop it? Or
Yes,
water?
a lot of dairy products. So
That's how you
dairy,
do it.
chocolate, or pure alcohol, which I'd probably avoid.
Not the third one.
Yeah, but go with the dairy. The more fat that's in the dairy product, the better it is. It's the fat content that clings to the capsaicin molecules, so it stops your taste buds hurting.
Any others you want to try before drive?
I'll give
Let's,
one more.
if you're on a similar
I'm
heat
in
and
for
you've
a
already
penny now.
warmed your taste buds up, let's go with India Joy Wala, which is our Great Taste Gold-winning product. This is a very layered product, so you'll basically get all the different things happening in your mouth on different levels. So you'll get the toasted spices, you get cumin seeds, kalonji, mustard seeds.
Right.
You'll get the aroma of curry leaf at the back of your palate. You'll get all that sticky, gooey pineapple that you just piled in there, because that was one heck of a good wodge. And then you're going to get the Dorset Naga, and it will build you slightly, and it will get warmer.
That's like 3 flavours in one,
Yes.
because you've broken into something which is, there's different textures in there.
Yep.
So it starts off as a different, it's like the gobstopper in,
Basically, it takes you on a taste journey,
Yes.
so it allows you to taste India as you eat it, as you are eating it. I mean, it's great at a
delicious.
poppadom. That's what I designed it for. But you can make a nice South African baked chicken dish with it, mixing it with a bit of yogurt. You can do lots of different things with it. And as you were just touching on the recipe notes, we give you lots of different ideas and inspiration. I've been to food festivals before, and even as a foodie, I've bought products and I've not known how to use them, or they've gone off in the fridge, and that is a total waste. For me, I've not won on that level. If you're not going to come back and buy a second one, you've not got into the brand, and that's what I want to do with you. I want to get you to try everything, taste everything, come back and buy more.
Your passion for it just comes through, and you can taste your passion in there. You said about, the smaller batches, they're not mass produced in the way other sauces and spices can be, so therefore they just have that organic flavour taste to them. What about when you do get big? What will you do then? How will you cope?
I guess it's a case of crossing that bridge when you get to it. I don't really want to get to a point where it is being mass produced. It's still going to be hand produced. How that's going to happen, I'm not sure, but I've worked with a couple of delicatessens, Warwick Street Kitchen, in fact. They're very,
Sorry, I'm
very,
just laughing at his eyes.
they're very passionate about
just took
not
him
having
at the
you are suffering. Yeah, the Haitian sensation's got you, I think.
Price's Spices have hit the spot.
Haven't they just?
But no, processed things when they taste processed. I mean, Adam at Warwickshire Kitchen, you know, he's got a very good palate and he knows when something tastes processed, and that's happened with a couple of his stock producers before. So I'm very conscious about that. If people can tell, then they stop buying it. That's something that I wouldn't want to happen.
Yeah.
It's got to be small batch.
How do we buy your spices? You keep talking about these chili festivals that aren't necessarily accessible to, well, I suppose we can go to them, but I mean, can we pick your spice up off a shelf somewhere locally?
We have a full e-commerce website, which will do free local delivery. We also are stocked in many farm shops, local delicatessens, and even up and down the country. We will also be doing many of the food festivals that are coming up, and the chili festivals as well. So we'll be at the Edible Garden Show in March.
Is that where it all started for you, I read?
I went to the Edible Garden Show in 2013, and yes, basically I already had about 100 chili plants growing. I went to see
the idea and thought.
Joy Michaud at Seaspring Seeds, who's one of the big chili seed packing people and, you know, testing. And they actually the people that developed the Dorset Naga about 5 years ago. So went there, bought another few chili plants that I really didn't need to buy, and they had this growing competition for the Dorset Naga. Lo and behold, by the end of the year, I actually won that growing competition with the most ripe chilies.
Brilliant.
So the actual product, the India Joy Wala, is partly named after Joy Michaud. India Jewala is a chili, and India Joy for Joy Michaud. So she was quite pleased to have something named after her too.
Well, it's been an absolute joy to have you in the studio and see the fruits of your labour, quite literally.
Thank you.
Website, give it out. What's the address for people?
It's www.pricesspices.com.
And if you like your chutneys, if you like your spices, I promise you won't be disappointed. Something else you won't be disappointed in is Richard Williams on your radio this afternoon. What time are you on?
3 till 6 today, just standing in for Phil. Obviously, Phil's on breakfast for just a couple of days, so normal service will be resumed next week, but I'll be holding the fort for the next 2 days, and Clive will be on Friday. Lots coming up between 3 and 6.
We look forward to it. Thank you. And get some more of that down, yeah.
I can say it's the most unusual breakfast I've ever eaten. So I'm not normally have my breakfast at this time, being on breakfast.
Never too early.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. So we've got all the details. If you missed any of them and want to get them from us, 0345 900 5200. Now, coming up after 11 o'clock, we head into Mystery Year territory. Here's how it works. I play you music, I tease you with facts and play you a mystery TV theme, and you give me a ring on my number or text 81333, starting your text with CW. Just want your guess, and if you've guessed the year and it's a brilliant year,